Let's do some Top That Trade Unplugged. Joining us now, Phil Flynn, a Fox Business Network news contributor, and Alan Knuckman, the chief market strategist at bullseyeoption.com. Round number one, trading through the years. You guys have 30 years each of trading experience. How did you get started trading, and what helped you along the way?
Wow, I started in high school messing around, looking at in the newspaper for companies I knew, just kind of the old school way. But on the trading floor, I dabbled in the treasury bond pits, trying to make one tick at a time. It wasn't for me. I wasn't good, but I was tall, which was an asset back then in the old days before this computerization of the world.
You know, I basically learned by the hard knocks down on the trading floor. And it was so much amazing. One of the saddest things about losing the trading floor was the amount of knowledge that was in one room at one place. They've seen everything, right? You know, they've seen the ups, they've seen the downs. I've seen, poor men become rich, and I saw rich men become poor, right? So you learned about capitalism live, color, with spit and punches flying, and there's no better way to learn the markets that way. But really, it brought me from a nice marriage of technicals and fundamentals. And I don't think you can separate the two sometimes. I think having a good knowledge of the big picture, the fundamental picture, is a great thing. It can have you look for the right opportunities. But at the same time, you can't get so caught up in a fundamental outlook like, hey, I think the stock market's going to crash or the market's going to rally, without justifying that with technical analysis. So that's the key. Don't come into the market with some kind of bias like, I know the market's going to crash and the market's going to go up, unless you have deep pockets to fund that bet. Have a market bias based on fundamentals, but look for the right technical opportunity. And if you can do that, you're going to save yourself a lot of pain and save yourself a lot of money.
Round number two, to trade or not to trade. When do you know when it's time to stay away?
When in doubt,
trading is all about risk control, is what it comes down to. As you know, you talked about making a rich man poor. If you didn't have risk control, that could happen. But you got to have the ability to bounce back. You're going to get knocked down, but you've got to bounce back every time.
When in doubt, stay out, right? I used to be a caddy. That's what we used to say. When in doubt, wave it out, right? But yeah, if you're uncertain, wait, because the market, don't be afraid of the fear of missing out. Don't be afraid of missing the trade. There'll be another opportunity.
Always get out when you can. You can always get back in.
Round number three, for better or worse, is the market better for trading now, or was it better back in the day?
This is the best time ever in history because of technology. You can trade any market, any direction, anytime. So things have changed dramatically technologically. I only trade options now because I want to be able to not have to watch the markets, minute by minute, day by day. But the opportunities are amazing. Like Phil talked about, in the past, you'd be worried about missing those opportunities because they weren't as frequent. Now it's every moment of every single day.
Yeah, and the problem with that is, so I do kind of miss the old days. I'm one of those old timers, right? And I used to.
We are the old timers,
the market.
Phil.
I know, that's what I'm saying. And now, I kind of miss when markets actually close for a day. I was kind of nice. You'd have a day off.
Saturday. But Saturday is your Sabbath.
If I had to say one thing, obviously technology makes things better. I still remember, the old joke about the NYMEX when it was in business. I remember, they ran an ad one time that said the NYMEX started trading crude oil 30 years ago today. And then underneath that, somebody wrote, and yes, and I'm still waiting for my fill, So you get instantaneous. So is it true? You couldn't get your prices sometimes when you're trading oil for hours sometimes, and it could be desperate. So from that viewpoint, it's good. But I think on the flip side of that, the one thing I miss, I go back to the trading floor and the knowledge, is the ability of people to think about and make markets and look ahead. And I think one of the things we've lost in this instantaneous, computerized world is the thought process, right? The long term, and thinking about, the impact. And the market used to do a better job, in my opinion, of predicting the long-term future, as opposed to reacting to every headline. So I'd like to get back to the intuitive nature of the market, which I think we've lost, with too much information, if that makes any sense.
Here's your bonus round question for today. Ticker time. Are the following tickers true or made up? LEAF, LEAF, Harvest, HRVST, or autumn, AUTM.
Through those autumn
True.
leaves
They're all
fall.
true.
I made them up, but you guys are winners in our hearts. Business First AM will be right back.
Go to businessfirstam.com for where to see our show on TV.